Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I want to talk about the new Ordeal evolutions that have just gone live in North America, along with some various other new evolutions and upgrades. So this whole Ordeal evolution will be quite the ordeal to tackle because there's not too much information as to what you need to do. Basically, what they're trying to say is that if you bring certain awakening skills and you are able to overcome their respective challenges, you can acquire these new evolutions. Unfortunately, you have to go into game and it'll be like, overcome these 5 ordeals within 9 turns. This turn use 2-prong attacks 3 times, matching orbs amongst those 2 colors. That is all you're given, unfortunately. So, thankfully, someone by the name of Notepad No Life posted this helpful guide on Reddit. I'm just going to leave this on the screen temporarily for you, so in case you want to pause the video to take a look at this or find it on Reddit itself. Point of the matter is, if you can overcome all these different challenges, so to speak, you can acquire these new evolutions. Now, you obviously want to bring cards that are able to generate orbs for those respective colors. I've seen people use a bunch of Maymays, or orb generators. The point of the matter is you just need to find ways to generate orbs in order to actually, solve the TPA Woodrow requirements for the Athena, or the Waterow VDP and the big brick blob match awakening for the Neptune. Bring orb changers and hopefully you followed that little template there. And if you are able to actually overcome these, you will be able to acquire these new cards. Now, these new cards are not that great, I feel, overall, based on where we currently are in this point in time. Yes, they look like they can do damage. They have, I guess, damage cap increasing abilities. You can raise their damage cap above the regular amount, so you could put SDRs or killers or whatever you need to have. They are triple element, and it does give you an attack buff. It does enhance light and hard orbs. You have to match 4 plus light orbs essentially for Athena, so it can be done, but I don't think it's particularly great because when you think about it, they're not actually generating orbs for you, so it's going to be a little awkward. You have to find someone who generates orbs for you, otherwise this is not going to quite work. On the other hand, Neptune does at least come with a self-system style active skill, but it's on a 3-turn cooldown. But this 3-turn cooldown does give you the damage cap increase for themselves and the attack buff, along with having the ability to generate 7 water, hearts, and poison. And those poison orbs are obviously problematic, but their leader skill wants you to match poison or lethal poison orbs to increase your scaling multiplier. So you are a pure HP leader, so your health is going to get tanked so badly from these poison orbs, but your RCV does improve every time you match heart orbs. So it's kind of a wild and interesting thing overall, I feel. It can, I guess, clear content. It is technically a meaty leader, and assuming you know that there are no gravities in a dungeon, which you can't really look up, you just have to know, you could possibly clear content, kind of like what Sea Tona and Royal Oak Nautilus are able to do. They don't have any actual damage reduction, they just have big, fat, flat health multipliers. And then other cards received various evolutions or upgrades. It was more so upgrades in this case. So the Farmable Athena has now been updated to have the awakenings necessary to achieve her ordeal. Remember, you have to enter the dungeon with these respective cards as your leader, and then whatever subs you want. So thankfully, this Athena comes with the Woodrows necessary and the TPAs as well, and that is obviously quite helpful. For Neptune, he is still an 8 skill boost card, 2 here, 6 here naturally. It is a large number of skill boosts on an 8-turn cooldown, so if you are in need of a skill boost stick, Neptune definitely could be your guy, so to speak. An 8-turn cooldown, it used to be much higher if I'm not mistaken, so that definitely does alleviate some problems. For Valkyrie's Seal, this was a card that used to be one of the absolute best in slot cards you could actually bring. Unfortunately, the meta has not been very kind, but she has now at least has the ability to get 4 10 combo awakenings, which kind of makes her a bit more relevant. But even then, 4 10 combos is not that great in Super Gravity. I can't believe that's a statement I actually have to make, but it's really not that great anymore. And then the blue Valkyrie just got forgotten about completely. She didn't receive this Super Awakening buff, unfortunately. But yay, I guess that's some other option there. For this green-red Athena, the Godfest exclusive version, she does have strong personal damage with those TPAs because she can get even more TPAs through her Super Awakenings. And her active skill is a 3-turn cooldown that gives you an attack buff based on the number of TPAs on your team, which is probably going to be a large amount. And then you get 4 fire and wood orbs from non-hard orbs. So maybe melee teams might have some fun because those are the colors they like. Grigory, melee, like those types of teams. I haven't really used them in a while. Maybe they work still, who knows? Leader skill has been updated, so there's a bit more bulk if I'm not mistaken. I wish they would honestly put the old version because I've forgotten completely what the old version had, unfortunately. We're just going to have to accept that it was a buff. For Zeus Giga, a card that I kind of forgot that existed, he is now on a 10-turn cooldown, a 3-turn piercing through damage void and adding combos while giving you a row of dark orbs. 3 turns of damage penetration is quite a nice amount overall, and with 6-7 combos, the chance at 8-7 combos, not bad damage potentially, or levitation. I still don't think 7 combos, like 6-7 combos is nowhere near enough, even with levitation. So I just think it's like they gave him a bit of love, but nowhere near enough love to truly work out. For Hera Luna, she's got a mixture of Blob Awakening plus VDP, and it's just incredibly confusing, I feel. It's like, what do you want to do well, Hera Luna? I don't know. So I just feel like it's a card I'm not going to really be able to use because it does a tiny gravity, it does a row of light orbs, and 80% damage reduction for 2 turns. Yes, 80% damage reduction is massive, but on a 14-turn cooldown, this is not going to come up very often, and her, like I said, her damage output is highly confusing. For the Dark Athena, who was once a super cool leader for like Arena 3, if anyone actually remembers those days, her current form here has Cloud, has Jam Resist, has 4 skill boosts, can potentially, does not show me your Super Awakenings. Jeez, holy fish. But she does have 3-turn delay upon her active skill actually being used, and then it transforms into being an orb generator as well. It's technically farmable in the sense that it only costs monster points, but I don't feel like it's going to be good enough to compete with current modern day options, unfortunately. And the same is going to apply to this blue Athena. Like, you have lots of L's. Maybe if there's a heavy L-based team, maybe you could make that argument, because it is a 3-turn cooldown that does give an attack buff, does give an RCV buff, does remove locked orbs, and makes only 5 water. It's a 3-turn cooldown, so it's definitely on the longer side. You can't system it too easily. You can get more 7 combos. You could get more skill boosts. You could get that 10 combo. Damage output's not going to be good until you actually match that L, but maybe you want to go for the skill boost instead. For the red Athena, a bunch of VDPs and the Brick Awakening, but it's a bunch of VDPs and Super Blind Resist. Unfortunately, the active skill is a 4-turn cooldown, and that's just terribly long for what it does. Making 9 fire orbs at random is not that spectacular for 4-turn cooldown with enhancement. I guess it's kind of like the tax you pay for, like, essentially a farmable card. Neptune Dragon has, again, like I said, confusing awakenings. VDP, Rose, Blob, 7 combos, Combo Orb. Just make up your mind. Just do one of those really well, and you could be a little bit stronger. Their active skill is a 3-turn cooldown that does make a row of water orbs, but a single row of water orbs is not enough to actually trigger the Blob Awakening or VDP, so it just makes me sad inside. On the flip side, I think Odin Dragon is now much stronger than he used to be. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he actually had the regular L Awakening beforehand. Now he's got 2 L's, but he always had this Heart Shield, and their Super Awakenings does include a Skill Boost Plus. So what my current Odin Dragon has been doing is utilizing the Skill Boost Plus plus 6-slot Latent Awakening. So he would be 9 effective skill boosts. 4 skill boosts here from the regular Awakenings, 3 skill boosts from the Latent Awakening, and then their active skill is actually 2 turns of haste upon transforming into the next form. So he could be up to 9 effective skill boosts. It's a huge amount of skill boosts when you think about it, but then again, your cleric, or most teams in general, will want to have some way to clear assists being removed, and that is done via the L Awakening and the special 6-slot Latent. So what I'm probably going to do is pick up a second Odin Dragon, make it into this form, and have one with the skill boost Latent and one with the L assist replacing Latent, because that flexibility is nice. I don't always need 9 skill boosts. Sometimes I really do, but not all the time. And then I'd rather have an option to put back my assists, because at least nowadays, if you don't have a way to put back your assist, there's a strong likelihood you're just going to die, because it's just the way the mechanics stack up and your resists are just happening to be on your weapon assist, or all your team team HPs are there and you just don't have enough health. Point of the matter is, I think Odin Dragon, I don't think he had this L before. I really don't think he did, because I would have considered it before, but now I am considering it just because it's now available. So something to keep in the back of your mind. Yomi Dragon does technically provide those other stuff, but they have 4 skill boosts and they have the 2 haste, but they don't have the option of being big skill boost. They're not a cleric. They are a 3-turn cooldown that does give orb generation. They're not a cleric. What am I talking about? It's just a 3-turn orb generator, so not as spectacular by comparison, I feel. On the other hand, both Raw Dragons, Light and Dark form, actually have become significantly stronger. So, Light Raw Dragon has 4 5-attribute awakenings, which is already a large amount of personal damage. And then they have an attack well above 50%. Good chance you're going to be able to actually trigger that, thankfully. So his personal damage output is much higher than it was beforehand, and his active skill does provide a 30% health heal. Drawback is, it's a 3-turn cooldown, so unless you're utilizing other things like, say, like the Remdraw Trio, Algae Kitty, things that are 3-turn cooldowns already, this could be a nice way to plug that orb generation hole, so to speak. And for like Remdraw Trio, they are at least the correct typing, so it's something you can definitely utilize. They do gain access to Super Blind. They have Super Blind Resist, they have Cross, they have Skill Boost Plus. Their active skill is 2 turns haste upon transforming the active, so they could be potentially 7 effective skill boosts, or 5 with Cross, 5 with Blind. Not a bad option all around. And then on the flip side, the Dark Raw Dragon has, again, the 4 5-attribute awakenings, but attack while below 50%, because that synergizes with their active skill of cutting your health all the way to 1. So using his active skill, which is a 2-turn cooldown, will ensure that all his personal damage is kept intact. Furthermore, if you want to juice his offensive potential even more, you can slap on the double 7 combo Super Awakening, or stick with the Skill Boost Plus, so then he's actually 4 skill boosts plus 2 turn... Oh, wait. It doesn't have actually any haste. Never mind. It's only Light Raw Dragon that gives haste. So much lower skill boost count, but higher potential damage in theory for Dark Raw Dragon. But Light Raw Dragon gives you more utility. Ragnarok Dragon, I actually have mine sitting in his weapon assist form, but in this other form here, it's not a bad option by any means. It's got an 8-turn cooldown for 1 turn of damage and attribute absorption cancellation, but with the skill charge awakening, it's really a 4-turn cooldown, because you are going to be matching Rainbow Board every time. So on a 4-turn cooldown, you have your absorption cancellation. Remember, these are monster point and dragons, so you can acquire these, so they're obviously not going to be as spectacular as Rag Machine cards. So it's not a bad option by any means. They have 4 4-attribute awakenings. It could be 6 4-attribute awakenings or the levitation. I feel like with the levitation, their damage output will become much more respectable overall. Drawback is, like Dark Raw Dragon, they have no useful effect upon transforming their active skill. Yes, you have 3 times max HP for 2 turns, but I usually rather would have haste or haste just to get going. Scathatch. It's a card I completely forgot that existed. It's a farmable card, but I feel like they have become quite respectable now, because in this era, Team HP Awakenings are kind of the most important thing, so to speak. You just need to load up any given team with as much Team HP as possible to survive outrageously large damage attacks. So, with 3 Team HP Awakenings, you're kind of doing that. Furthermore, they have this L Unlock Awakening, which means they can be the solution to put back your assists when they do get removed. So, just from this pure Awakenings point of view, not a bad option. They are transforming, they only give 1 turn of haste upon transformation, so that's obviously a bit of a drawback, but their active skill is a 10-turn cooldown that gives you 3 turns of damage and attribute absorption cancellation, along with a board change of wood, dark, and hearts. So it's providing a valuable active skill, because we always need absorption cancellation wherever we go, and the board changer is a nice little side effect. 10-turn cooldown is obviously a bit on the longer end, but it does last for 3 turns, which is going to help ensure you actually have enough absorption cancellation to carry through even back-to-back floors potentially. And like I said, triple Team HP is a big deal nowadays. Think of like why Polonais or Patty are so valuable. They have tons of Team HP Awakenings. This is a farmable option, so not a bad thing overall. Demon Bull King, unfortunately, by comparison, is just really a damage stick that really, really hates gods. Like triple God Killer, 6-7 combos, 6 TPAs. they just can potentially delete God cards. It is almost a systemable active skill. Well, it is systemable in the sense that 3-turn cooldown, remove orb blocks, get a column of hearts, column of water, 2 times orb movement time. No hard orbs are made, so that's obviously a bit of a drawback. Sena does not need any more help in generating orbs, and I guess for Monofire, Shanna Clive is just a bit spicier. Durand has improved awakenings if we're still using him. I think what changed is they have Wood Orbs Enhanced tied into their active skill now. Before, it was just the board changer with haste. I don't think they're really going to be utilized too much anymore because they are a transforming card as well. So it's a bit harder to get to this nice system style active skill because technically 4 Durons is enough to have every Durand activate every single turn. Hoppo has damage output if you match an Heart L and a VDP and the Killers lineup with Levitation. Just a weird mismatch of awakenings, I feel. Gives you unmatchable clear, removes orb blocks, change the bottom row to water orbs. It is a transforming card, so it's harder to get going right away. Roshan is another farmable card with a bit of kind of every awakening, but the active skill is just an RCV movement time buffer and no Skyfalls. Enhancing all orbs. It does a bit of everything, but it's technically not solving the problems. Like, at this point in time, I'm definitely much more inclined to bring cards that solve, like, absorption, clericking needs, damage reduction. Those are kind of like the big ones you tend to need to have, as well as activation for your leader skills. So, like, 2 to 3 cards are dedicated to systeming to have enough orbs. So it's very hard to just squeeze in a card who just gives you movement time and RCV buffing. We oftentimes can find another card that does more than this by bringing either damage reduction like Sekka, who could do both the RCV and movement time buffing as well. So by default, I'm just going to bring them over Rashana. Just kind of that logic, so to speak, because this game has now become so incredibly mechanic heavy that you need to have everything possible and the kitchen sink to hopefully overcome it. Irene has potentially strong damage when you match 5 attributes and an L. They do have a 2-turn cooldown that does make your orbs, but the problem is she skill delays your entire team, so just that alone makes me want to never use them, unfortunately. Apophis, I'm not sure if their active skill is now, how did it change? Is it now removing locked orbs before? Did it cut its health to 1? Now it's only half? I don't recall, unfortunately. Their leader skill wants them to be below 20% health, so having your HP twice is still not enough to get you into this threshold. So you need to find someone who cuts your health to 1, I feel, to make him work. I don't quite recall what exactly happened, but they are still technically a swipe style leader. Ryunsai was kind of a prize evolution that you could make before. Not so helpful nowadays. I don't think I have much use for them. Legoravan has a 3-turn cooldown that does technically give you a rainbow board changer with 5 turns of Awoken skill and unmatchable clearing. I guess that is something. Does give modest damage, especially with a TPA, but we rather probably use full clerics because if it's more than 5 turns of bind or unmatchable, you're in trouble. Raptoscore, I can't pronounce that name very well. They have triple 10, 4 TPAs. Nothing's that special nowadays. It's piercing for 2 turns. Does give you a board as well of Wood, Dark, and Hearts, but nothing too special. I feel like of all the cards that really gained significant value, I feel like Raw Dragons are definitely harder hitting solutions for Rainbow. Scathach, I think, is now definitely a stronger option for absorption cancellation, especially if you are like playing Wood or Dark teams. It can be useful because of the team HP awakenings. And then obviously like the new Athena and Neptune are just interesting cards we have to work for. So that brings me to the end to all the new evolution upgrades as well as the Ordeal evolutions. So that being said, let me know what you lovely ladies and gentlemen think about all these updates and new styles of evolutions in the comment section down below. Do you think they are an interesting design? Do you think you would actually have a place to utilize them? Or are they more just kind of like box trophies? Regardless of all that, hopefully all you lovely ladies and gentlemen have a truly fantastic day. I wish you best luck in your own pad adventures and happy puzzling.